I'm back.
Modern Fossil, Ace Attorney, you're having a pleasant discussion with Lana Sky.
We are, as always. What a pleasure she is. Here we go.
Start talking to her.
I have to admit, I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say. So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No. I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, whom may I ask is this person you're speaking of? The one I am supposedly so frightened of. What is this person's name? I'll tell you who the hell it is. It's Damon Gant.
Mike begins.
Well, Miss Sky? Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. Yes, you, but also one other, Damon Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case. I just found this in a safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I cannot disobey the chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder.
Guidelines.
Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate. In the murder of Detective Goodman. Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day.
I'm gonna say that Lana's saying this.
Lana saying this?
Yeah, Lana's telling Phoenix this. This is what they said.
I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. Murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. A knife from the SL9 incident. Serial killer Joe Dark's knife. I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that is the reason for the bandage on your right hand. Yes. It seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in him. A star, huh? Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that, by whatever means possible. So you hid Dark's knife. The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with it. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Right. Then I called my sister to tell her what happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. Trust Emma. I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. A bad feeling? The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gantz, first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? Lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least, thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean... Not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card. But it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So, your phone call caused the evidence in the evidence room. Incident in the evidence room. Fuck. I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. There's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. What went down in the chief's office 2 years ago? To be continued. And the
Now for you guys, we're gonna keep on going.
yeah.
These are so generous.
In fact, I'm gonna go pee.
Oh.
And I'll tell you guys why. I have drank 3/4 of a gallon of water today, 1 Yoo-hoo, and a large energy drink.
Yep.
I peed 3 times within 1 hour today. And I'm talking big lugs.
As a definitely urinary infection.
No, just well lubricated.
Oh, good. Oh, I guess be right back.
Un moment. Now we're back. We're back. Oh, wait. Now that I've peed, I must replenish.
So we're gonna be right back after like 20 minutes.
Nope. ASMR. Let's see if we can get anything here.
Some of it came in.
This is the defendant lobby, all right, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? Where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if...
Something's been happening behind the scenes.
Edgeworth!
Ah! Don't scream my name. Knowing you, you've already figured it out. You're the owner of the 777-7777 ID number. Yes, that is.
Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out.
You know, the only reason this child didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID card record. If that number does belong to the whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything.
True, not yet.
In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes right, and Chief Prosecutor Sky will be found guilty.
But she didn't do it!
I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say.
This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her.
The truth?
Everything goes back to the SL9 incident.
Don't be stupid! Today's the last day of the trial! We don't have time to reminisce about the past!
That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened.
I'll think about it. See you in court, right?
This is it. If I'm ever gonna find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Oh, fuck the judge. Damn it. I hate that motherfucker. I'm just gonna pretend he has a cold today. Okay, he has a cold today.
You are your own worst enemy. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make.
Chief can't. The fuck?
Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, RG, been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that, you actual fool. You don't press the button.
Fuck. On my glasses.
No. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, what exactly is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court.
She wants to do what?
Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. What's this all about, defendant?
I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished.
Well then, what's your request?
Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. I confess to all charges against me. On February 21 of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. Oh, Lana. You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please.
Well, the defendant certainly has a right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise.
This can't be happening.
It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant.
Objection!
One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edward? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage will certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you. But why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gaunt. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes? Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness.
Oh. To whom? Excuse me?
As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony.
Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue.
I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. An exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it.
Very well. The court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant?
Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand.
Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins.
Yeehaw.
Cowboy.
Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma. Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark, the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time.
Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant, Waka Waka?
Yes, most certainly is.
So well, okay.
He sure gave in fast.
Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago.
The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial.
Oh my god.
Witness's testimony. 2 years ago.
I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in, took me hostage. The young marshal rescued me. But I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest.
It's a good thing you weren't harmed.
I passed out. I don't remember much.
That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder?
That will soon become apparent, Your Honor.
You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence.
Very well, the defense may begin it.
Poor judge, he's really under the weather.
Yeah. On the big day as well. I was waiting in my sister's office that day.
Why?
Jesus.
2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct?
Yes, she was second in command under the then Deputy Chief of Police Gant. My sister, she was the best detective ever.
Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Skye used to be quite the pair.
I believe they shared the same office. At That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk. I dreamed about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Anna promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man came running in and took me hostage.
I'd like to think she's like a pirate. She's like, man came running in and took me hostage.
Man took me.
Like, what's a hostage? It's
Yeah.
like, you took me hostage. Or I guess just Irish. Took me hostage. Here, Marshal, rescue me.
You got a person. You skipped it, by the way.
The men came running in and took me hostage.
I was turning into Canadian.
Huh?
I was turning into Canadian.
Yeah.
From pirate to Irish to
A
Canadian.
man came running in and took me hostage. A man came running in and took me hostage. I always struggle with Irish and Scottish. Scottish stories is like, a man came running in and took me hostage. No, a man came running in and took me hostage.
Scottish is more
Scottish is...
powerful. Scottish, yeah.
Yeah, but Irish is like, I don't know. I guess it, you know, whatever. They're easy to like mix. It's like Scottish, you do this a lot. A man, Phoenix, right? I sit down, I sit down,
Yeah. Like something like that.
He took me hostage. He took me hostage.
Goodbye, all of UK and Ireland viewers.
Yeah, of course.
What a shame.
What a shame. You think I'm brave like Merida? What a shame that is.
That's the only thing we know of
Scottish.
when it comes to your culture is the movie Brave.
But it just starts to sound too like just English. Just a little like what makes it Scottish. You gotta get a little bit. Okay, whatever.
A man?
Yes, Joe Dark. He was a
Man.
serial killer. Man. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of the ceremony. They were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest.
When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right?
Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky and Gunt's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him.
Air Marshal rescued me. Air Marshal rescued me. Air Marshal rescued me. What was the prosecutor doing there?
That day, there were two people present during Dark's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gaunt and Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
Almost forgot about Gant.
Neil Marshall had just received. Fuck. That was my
disgusting.
neck, my pulse. Neil Marshall had just received the Keener Prosecutor's Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony.
I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after dark.
When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead.
And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in.
I don't clearly remember what happened then. But I'll never forget what I saw in that instant.
Can you tell us about that?
Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out.
The lights!
It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and lightning struck nearby.
So the electricity went out.
Wait a minute! If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right?
Right, but just then, lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind.
I see.
I told the detective about what I saw then.
The detective.
Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case.
Detective Bruce Goodman. The victim.
And we will be able to hear more on the next episode of this shit. You know what it is. Like, do I really have to say more? Listen, to all our loyal supporters, we fucking love you. Subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mom, tell your goat. Don't fucking forget about the goat, guys.
Dude, all you Kazakhstanians out there, don't forget the goat.
Your Kyrgyzstites.
Yeah, come on.
What do you call people from Jordan? Hoopers?
Muslims?
Okay.
Ah! You didn't even spay me, and I was I have like PTSD now. I'm like reacting to the stuff before it happens.